Maybe we'll just do a quick kick-off with a short introduction about yourself and the organisation you're from.
Thank you. Yeah, David Stone, Managing Director at Centuria Bass. We're a non-bank private lender that's been around since 2016. We only look at lending opportunities that's supported by real estate collateral. We look at all different asset classes in terms of retail, obviously residential development, commercial, industrial, and yeah, that's me.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Annabel Malouf. I'm from Resilience Insurance. I've been with the company now for about 10 weeks, and it's been really interesting getting to learn a bit more about the construction industry and look at the property market through a different lens. I've got over 20 years experience in the banking and insurance sector. I spent the last 12 years with Helia, they were formerly Genworth, in lenders mortgage insurance. For me, I've just always been fascinated by property and how it can be used as a wealth creation tool, and that's really what led me to Resilience. The more I learned about the latent defect product, the more I believed in it, and yeah, that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Jonathan Craig, I'm the Managing Director at GWH. We're a builder-developer based in Newcastle, been in operation in that market for about 30 years. The last 10 years we've had a real focus on the residential apartment market.
Daniel Nicholas, founder and managing director of DASCO Australia, one of two. Been in business since 1993. We build for clients and we build our own work. We also do JV transactions with various partners.
Okay, maybe we'll start off with you, Daniel. Just do you want to share a bit about the role and the evolution of the builder-developer, and then how that ownership of the full process can communicate trust, whether to financiers or to consumers?
From the onset, 32 years ago, we started as builder and developer. We had two lines in our business. One was to build for others and one to do our own or do JVs. So with 32 years of trade, we've accumulated knowledge. Often we have skin in the game, but where we don't have skin in the game, where we're building for third-party developers, we understand the pain that they could go through. We understand the financial challenges that they have to face, especially nowadays, because we are also developing parallel to their developments. So that has benefited us quite a bit in the last 30 years.
I guess same question for you as well, Jonathan. As a builder-developer, how has that kind of evolved? Obviously, it's come, give us a bit of
my two business partners were always developers, and we set up a construction arm back in the mid-90s. And I suppose with the construction focus and background, obviously evolving into a developer, having that background and understanding of construction does sure make it, as Daniel said, a little bit easier as a developer, but it's never easy. We did spend a little time over the years of contract building for clients. We have a handful of those guys, but not many. Most of our projects, almost all of our projects, we're a builder-developer, especially in the multi-storey res space.
Maybe Annabel, do you just want to share a bit about the Resilience Insurance view of the difference between working with a builder-developer versus those two roles kind of being separate, and how does that impact the kind of risk profile or otherwise?
Yeah, so when we're looking at insurance risk, I think it's really central to have the builder and developer working tightly together. I think, communication, focus on quality and accountability is really something that drives how we engage with developers. I think if there's a bit of a disconnection and mainly a transactional relationship, we tend to see that quality diminish and those defects pop up a bit. So yeah, we're definitely supportive of that developer-broker partnership, and we find that's really central to making a decision.
Yeah, and I guess for you as well, Dave, do you want to just talk to us a bit about how do you feel about putting your capital out into the world, your limited partners' capital out into the world when you're kind of backing a developer builder, and what are some of the advantages or perhaps disadvantages either way?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Probably a decade ago in the finance industry, builder developers, and I know because I used to work at a bank, you'd probably give them 5% less leverage. Whereas now I think that we've all come to realise that, you know, having vertical integration in your business means that, you know, feasibilities stack up. We've seen a number of instances where builders and developers don't necessarily get on. And I think obviously being a builder developer means that your goals are aligned. It also means that you're potentially looking at both a development margin and a building margin, which makes us feel comfortable. So, you know, we're very supportive at Centuria Bass of builder developers.
And I guess obviously there's been a lot of news and activity from the building commissioner, and how's that kind of shaping how you guys are seeing things at Centuria Bass?
Yeah, I mean, the building commissioner's come in and obviously I think in general has done a good job in terms of, you know, ensuring that the industry is, you know, performing. And I think it's also a positive in terms of giving consumers more confidence when it comes to, you know, purchasing properties, especially off the plan. I think buyers are definitely more discerning now, and so they want to ensure that, you know, you've got a builder that's done all the right things. In terms of our due diligence process, you know, we obviously, you know, communicate with you know, the Commissioner's office and anybody that's had any issues to try and best understand, you know, where things potentially have gone wrong. But yeah, I think all in all it's been positive.
And what do you think? Obviously, with some of the stuff online, there's been sharing a lot of, you know, horror stories and things like that. And I think one of the things that we find is that when there's negative sentiment in the media, even related to one developer, it has kind of a flow-on effect across. We see it across the whole platform, where conversion will drop across everything. For example, when the Mascot Tower stuff happened and other things, it really impacts confidence across the whole sector. Do you have any kind of perspective on how they're approaching the kind of the name and shame style versus whatever else? And you can also say no comment if you don't want to answer.
No. I just think, again, I think there's probably been a change in the market in terms of, again, buyers just being more discerning. We see a lot of projects that come to us that have, you know, a limited amount of pre-sale coverage, and that's on the basis that I think buyers now want to actually see something commenced and there be a start. And so a lot of developers are talking to us about the fact that, you know, there's definitely a depth of market in their project, but until, you know, people are on site and a hole is being dug, it is a little bit more challenging to get those pre-sales. And I think that's probably a consequence of, you know, some of those anomalies in terms of bad press with some of the developers. Again, unfortunate circumstances.
And what's your take, Annabel? Obviously, you guys are kind of really about, you know, in some ways, the resilience insurance message is kind of like, well, we're going to ultimately be the one throat to choke, so to speak, if something really goes wrong and you're going to come to us. How do you feel about the kind of way that the Commissioner and other things have kind of gone? Do you think it's a good thing for the market, and what relationship does it have with what you guys are doing?
Yeah, look, I think the government has started well. I mean, we needed to focus on lifting the standards across the industry. I think what they've brought in with the bond and the warranty is, you know, it's a good start, but we see it as a stepping stone. And we would really like to see the LDI uptake be mandatory. I think they've said by 2028. I think the technical inspection service, unless you're going in and making sure that something is built properly while it's being built, I think that's really the key, that LDI stands out over these other solutions that the government is offering.
And for you, Jonathan, I mean, you guys are obviously experienced operators. How do you feel the Commissioner's kind of gone with, do you think it's having a good impact? Do you think there are aspects, like, what's your read?
I think it's obviously been good for the industry. It hasn't changed how we build at all, and probably similar to you guys. We still build the way we do today as we did pre-commissioners and RABAC, but it's changed the way we have to document our projects, which obviously comes at an extreme time and cost impost, which obviously gets passed through to the end user, which it is what it is, but it's a good thing. Interesting question around how do they go about it. I would say that we're all tarred with the same brush, whether you're good, bad, or whether you're a good, trusted player or you're not so good and not so trusted. The Commissioner's office seems to treat everybody the same, and I think there really should be a call out to good developers and trusted builders and a more of a collaborative working relationship between the Commissioner's office and the good guys, because that's where their efforts should be, getting good people to be better, and the other guys will get left behind anyway, which they are. So I think it's been very good.
Interesting. Yeah, obviously our whole thing is we want to try highlight the good things and obviously offset some of the negative sentiment, because there's a relatively narrow.
Yeah, in saying that, we have a good relationship with them, and they've been on almost all of our sites, and each time it's been a fantastic outcome. But it's not an easy process, and I think it could be handled a whole lot more seamlessly and more collaboratively between the parties. That's all.
And how have you found your dealings, Daniel?
With the Office of the Commissioner,
Yeah.
it's been great.
Fantastic.
No, on a personal level, it's been great. I think probably 10 years ago, we sort of anticipated the introduction of a commissioner or something of that sort. So we've introduced systems and procedures in place in anticipation. So when the commissioner was appointed, I think we had done a lot of legwork prior to commission taking place. For us, it wasn't strange dealing with the likes of the building commissioner, because we were third-party builders. We always had the guns pointed at us, so we always had to answer to somebody else. In general, I think the commissioner has flushed out a lot of the bad operators, lifted everyone's games, including our game, including the consultants' games, including the subcontractors' game. I think it's been a win as a product, but it has come to a cost. There is a cost associated to it.
There's no doubt there's the cost of all these things. And tell me a bit about your view on the resilience insurance product, and I would say that as well as iCert and just all the kind of stuff that's kind of gone in this broader zeitgeist around, accountability, tracking, insurance, etc. that's emerged over the last few years.
With LDI, I think we were the second company to take LDI or to develop on our job. Took LDI. There was a spike in sales when they announced that LDI was taken up on the job. We have on all our developments, we have taken LDI. I think they have their own challenges with the government. They're yet to have a sign-off. We've been waiting for months. They're negotiating with the government, with the minister. They have plenty of challenges on their hand, I think. It does give peace of mind to the end user, at least when it comes to structure and waterproofing for 10 years. As she said, Mrs. Malouf, that they have the TIS, the mandatory inspections by third party. And I think that's also another layer of comfort to the end user, that there's somebody else watching and somebody else inspecting and somebody else checking.
Obviously, none of these things are free, and the consumer certainly appears to be kind of more willing to spend money and have a price premium attached to that. How are you finding the kind of translating that investment into a marketing strategy and sales strategy? You mentioned before you saw a spike in sales. What are some other things that have been useful about it?
I think there was a slide beforehand saying that consumers were willing to pay 2%. We don't quantify whether it's 2% or 3%. For us, the aim as a developer is to sell. There's a cost, and there's a cost that we allow for in marketing. It's part of marketing. I think you'd be better off selling than at a discount, or selling with an LDI premium than not selling at all. So for us, it's we treat it as an investment.
And for you, Jonathan, I guess more just broadly on the builder-developer side of things, how do you feel about marketing that capability? And do you leverage that in your marketing to kind of try build that trust?
Yeah, we've just started our first project with the LDI, with the resilience team, coming off the back of and completing some other 3 current developments that are coming to completion under the old developer bond. And we look at those bonds as a sunk cost in any case. Trying to deal with 100 or 200 strata lot owners to get a bond back's not a good experience for anybody. And I just think that dealing with the LDI and the clarity that it provides is a good thing for all concerned. As Daniel said, we welcome the technical inspection service, because it's great to have those guys on site with our team, problem solving, looking at items, working solutions together, it's great to have a third party verification as we go, that's for sure.
Awesome. And David, obviously you guys are looking at this on the financing side. How do you feel about it when there's kind of that product in place, and does it give you, what areas does it kind of give you certainty of, and or at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, it gives us a lot more confidence, and I must admit that, from a due diligence perspective, we've got a head of construction risk manager, and I must admit that insurance is a very large component of the due diligence nowadays, to ensure that everybody's adequately insured and we get it right.
We spoke a bit about before, kind of seeing the writing on the wall and the way the market's kind of moving. If I spoke to that, David, what do you see as kind of the next kind of 12 to 24 months? Any trends emerging similar to the kind of things we've been discussing so far as in relation to trust?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think in relation to trust, it's about, well, from a finance perspective, it's about us dealing with developers that have got a capability to deliver, that have done it before, that are well resourced. Yeah, I think that we just want to ensure that we've dealt with groups that have a good strong track record of being able to deliver projects. And if for whatever reason they run into trouble, that they've got the ability to get themselves out of a jam.
And for you, Annabel, how do you feel? What do you think are kind of the big things that we're going to see more of in the next kind of 12 to 24 months here in New South Wales?
Yeah, so we've really seen some rapid uptake in the LDI product in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, and we really expect that to continue. We touched on the cost-saving benefits of LDI, and that it's no longer just that sunk cost. The TIS being involved is saving quite a lot of money with fixing defects as they go, and it has that reputational risk as well, ensuring that what they're going to build is going to have that enduring value. So, yeah, we just look forward to expanding and delivering more apartments with LDI cover.
And for you, Jonathan, how do you see the next kind of 12, 24 months playing out?
In our market in Newcastle, it's quite steady, so we're comfortable in the next 12 to 18 months. Our cost base is stabilised, which is good. We have a core group of trades and suppliers and consultants that we've partnered with over a very long time, and that helps us with cost stability and time and the reality is we just got to keep selling and keep the marketing going, and if we can keep our sales moving in our market, which is strong, I think the next 12 to 18 months is very bright.
I think Jonathan's outlook is different to ours. I think he's based in Newcastle, where things are quite different. I think our biggest challenge in Sydney is affordability. And for us, we find that anything with $1 million and above is hard to sell, and it's hard for young couples to afford or to get a loan, finance for. Anything under $1 million, I don't think anyone in this room can deliver a product under $1 million, even if you purchase the land for close to nothing. So our challenges are quite different to Newcastle here. We have plenty of apartments that have been approved. I think the startup is about 20%, and that's all due to affordability.
And do you see construction cost escalation kind of slowing down, or what's your view on that?
Well, the curve has slowed down. It's flattened. I think there'll be a spark next year if most of these approvals in place to start. There's definitely shortage of labour, shortage of machinery, shortage of supply. I don't think we're geared for the next phase. If we have to build those 30,000 dwellings next year, I think we're going to have issues.
And how about for you, Jonathan? How do you see the kind of construction side of things?
I suppose the difference with our purchases, 3/4 of our buyers are downsizers, so it's not so much of an affordability issue as our target market. So it's probably a little bit. That's As I said, we have we're preferred partners that go from, probably no different to Daniel, go from project to project, site to site, and that really does help keep a lid on our construction and our delivery costs. I think that's probably a competitive advantage we have in our marketplace. So, yeah.
Maybe for you as well, David, just that the construction cost piece, obviously you guys have got will have your own view on that.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, it looks like construction costs have petered out. And to be fair, I do feel sorry for builders. Over the last 5 years, you've had wet weather, you've had labour shortages, you've had COVID. there's been any number of issues. We kind of believe that there's going to be some green shoots in terms of those costs petering out, and I think it's also different state to state. Centuria Bass also do business in other capital cities, and for example in Brisbane, with the Olympics coming up, I think there's going to be some major labour shortages. And it's interesting because the gross revenues in Brisbane have improved dramatically, but one challenge is getting a builder to build your product. So I think there's markets within markets, but overall we're very positive.
Well, thank you guys for coming up and joining us on stage. We're going to have another little break for some lunch, and then we'll have the final panel, but please join me in giving a round of applause.